this video, we're going to talk about grade schemes. D2L defines grade schemes as a way of organizing users' performance on grade items into levels of achievement. But I think the easiest way to remember how schemes work is just to remember that a scheme is any way of displaying grades or results to students that isn't a numeric point value. So for example, in D2L, schemes can be percentages, letter grades, pass-fail indicators, or any other symbol or piece of text that an instructor might use to communicate feedback to students in the gradebook. In this video, we're specifically going to be choosing between default grade schemes and then showing you how these grade schemes can work and be managed throughout your gradebook. In another video, we'll show you how to create a custom grade scheme if the default schemes don't meet your needs. Now, to start looking at and thinking about grade schemes, you want to go to your D2L grades area and then click on the schemes link at the top of the page. This takes you to the schemes screen. Now here we can see the two grade schemes that are set up by default in all OCU courses, percentage and letter grades. In this example, you can see that percentages is set as the default scheme for this course because there's a green check mark in the default scheme column for percentages. However, if you want to change your default scheme, you simply click the checkbox in the Set as Default column that corresponds with the scheme you want, and then confirm that submission by clicking the Yes button. Once you have set the default scheme that you want, you can make changes to how your grades display using this scheme. You can make these changes both for your gradebook as a whole and for individual grade columns. First, let's go to the Settings area for the entire gradebook, which is located here on the Settings link in the upper right-hand corner. Here you can see in the Grade Details area, there's a checkbox that allows you to make the grade scheme symbol visible to you, the instructor. If this box here is checked, then whatever you have selected for the default grade scheme, be it letter or percentage, will show up in your grades area, assuming you have left everything for that column as the defaults. Now, if you want to change the default display for your students as well as for yourself, you're also going to need to click on the Org Unit Display Options tab, and then make sure the grade scheme symbol box is checked here as well. Again, this particular box will make sure that your students and you can see the grade scheme, either letter or percentage, that you have selected for all columns that are going to utilize the default scheme and display settings. However, you're not locked into having the same scheme and display settings for every column in your course. You can also manage schemes or change schemes on a column-by-column basis. So let's close this. And let's go in and edit one of our gradebook items to see how we can manipulate the schemes there. First, notice that about halfway down on this Properties tab, you can choose a grade scheme for this column that is different than the course default. You can also change whether or not this scheme is displayed for a particular column, just like you can change whether or not points or colors are displayed for any particular column. Now let's say that normally I want my students to see their point total or their percentage, but for one particular column, for this particular column, I only want them to see their letter grade. I would do that by making sure the letter grade scheme is selected from the Grade Schemes drop-down menu. Then I would click Show Display Options, click Override Display Options for this item, which tells D2L you want to do something different than the default, and then I would make sure that only the grade scheme symbol box is checked, so I'm unchecking points and color. This is going to make sure that for this item, my students are only going to see their letter grade and not their points or percentage scores. Now note that if you want to change this view both for students and instructors, you will have to override the display options for both the student view and the managing view. And then you click Save and Close to return to your gradebook. And now here I can see for assignment 2 that only the letter grade is visible, which is what I told D2L to do.